This is your Chargers linebacker, Dan Henley, and you're tuning in with Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dan Wolkenstein here with you from the LAFB Network. If this is your first time tuning in the show, make sure to hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein. You know, anybody that says that Dan Wolkenstein does not do everything that he can for this show, on top of having a normal 8 to 5, on top of being a full-time husband and a father of 2, Dan Wolkenstein is the epitome of whatever it takes. Because as you can see, Dan Wolkenstein is not in his usual setting. He is currently in Boise, Idaho, coming off of a family wedding, getting ready to come back home in the next 24 hours. And he said, fuck it, I'm going to find time to do whatever it takes because we have not done a preview episode for the Washington Commanders Los Angeles Chargers game this week. So he goes downstairs, tries to find the best Wi-Fi situation that he can, tries to find some privacy, while also drinking coffee, having his breakfast for the morning. Dan Wolkenstein working around the clock.
Oh, I apologize in advance that my voice is a little hoarse from last night. We had some fun. Beverages were had. Wedding went off without a hitch. It was so fun. I'm in the business center of a Hampton Inn in Pocatello, Idaho. So pray for me. Don't ask. So yes, if I have food in my mouth as I'm talking, if I have coffee in my hand while I'm chatting, you just don't judge.
Was that a lipstick emoji that they put on the coffee cup?
Apparently.
As if to say, like, hey, drink from this spot of the cup.
Yes. And don't forget to put your lipstick there. No, exciting times. Look, the show has to go on.
Yes,
we cannot miss a show. We can't can't miss a preview show. Jake and I will be going through the Commanders Chargers Week 5. Kind of a statement game for both teams, honestly. But this Chargers team hoping to showcase that their last loss to the Giants was not the rule. That was an aberration. But we'll see. We'll go through the offense versus defense on both sides, go through the bowl predictions and game predictions, try to keep it a little short today because I don't even know if my computer is going to work or Wi-Fi is going to work or the lights are going to turn out. We shall see.
You'll miss your flight, any and all the above.
Yeah. Shout out to government shutdowns. Jake, 2 questions for you. First question, how did you sleep? Second question, can we please talk about our friends over at Sleeper?
I slept like shit, Dan Wolkenstein, to be honest. And I know that this is become a recurring theme for me, but honestly, I woke up for the first time with a headache that was non-alcohol related for the first time in God knows how long. I'm like, I don't wake up like this. So I woke up at 2:30. I was trying my best to go back to sleep. Couldn't do it. So I figured, okay, well, might as well go do something. So get the morning workout done earlier than expected today. Now back here, obviously, for the show. But what everybody needs to know is that the NFL season is here, which means you have now a chance to win up to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football with Sleeper. Football has never been more exciting than it is right now with players like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, etc. Pick on these stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big. Just use the promo code Chargers LAFB, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms used for details. Currently operating in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Dan is on mute.
Try it again. Jake,
one of the many. One of the many.
First $5 donation from Athier, friend of the show. Shout out to Athier. Thank you. Dan, listen, if God forbid Herbert got hurt, John Spanos will be on Joe Ortiz's ass. He will be on the hot seat. He had money and did not use it. So, Jake, I find it a little interesting. Again, Thier, thank you for the donation. Thier's sentiment seems to be changing a little bit. You saw how positive he was through 4 weeks. Now, all of a sudden, little kinks in the armor a little bit.
It's worrisome as we're just over 24 hours before game time. And as of right now, the left tackle has not been announced for who's going to be stepping in for the Chargers against the Commanders right now. We'll see. As we heard from Jim Harbaugh, they have thought about a lot of different options. at left tackle for this week. They had talked about Mekhi Becton possibly stepping in at left tackle. Great to see that he got out of the non-contact football jersey yesterday. So he was a full participant, which is a good sign leading into tomorrow. There's been talks, obviously, about Jamari Sawyer to move him to left tackle, which I think if Mekhi Becton is healthy, that would be the best option that you would go for. But why are we even putting the thought of an injury to number 10 out in the stratosphere? Honestly, guys, come on. Let's not do this, especially with the way that the injury bug has hit the Chargers early in these last 4 weeks. Let's not even talk about it. What they have to do is scheme properly now. You have to understand that was coaching malpractice last week, that when you lost Joe Alt in the first quarter, that you still decided to have Justin Herbert step back and throw it 40-plus times instead of giving the rock to Amari and Hampton more. I think that they have learned from that. I think that you're going to see a much more balanced offense, and you're going to see a hell of a lot more carries for Amari and Hampton this time around, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But that's how I think that the game plan is going to be tailored this week.
I agree. So, Jake, let's get into it. Our first loss last week in 2025, my son's first loss as a human being a Chargers fan. We typically go offense. Not great, Bob.
Did he take it all right?
Not great. No. I think he spit up and had a blowout because of it. I blame the Chargers loss.
Sounds like how I reacted after they lost. I had a spit up and a blowout as well.
Oh God. Okay. Do we want to go Chargers offense versus the defense of the Commanders, or vice versa?
I don't know, Dan. Finally, after those 3 weeks of winning, using that same combination, talking about the opposing team's offense first. Well, it didn't really turn out good last week, so maybe let's change it up. It up a little bit here. So let's go to the offensive side of the ball, because that's going to be one of the biggest storylines. And I just realized that the slide that I had up isn't necessarily corresponding to that, so I'm just going to keep it here. As it relates. This is what happens when you're trying to do a live show properly, obviously. So let's talk about the offense as it relates to the Chargers. Obviously, everything going into this game is going to revolve around the offensive line. There has to be better protection. Now, as it relates to the Chargers and what they have faced for the last 2 weeks, Denver Broncos and New York Giants front four are absolutely ridiculous. And when your offensive line is playing like that, and when your coaching scheme is tailored the way it was during that game, and there were no adjustments made offensively, you have to be better. So you obviously see Amari and Hampton here on the screen. I think that the game plan is going to go through him, which is, of course, going to not only protect Justin Herbert more, but I think you're going to see more of these better opportunities for Justin Herbert to not only get time to throw to his receivers, but possibly push down in the field more, because you're not going to have so many people lined up against you and rushing the passer, even though I guarantee you're still going to see a high percentage that Washington is going to try to do. They're going to try to duplicate what the Giants did and what the Denver Broncos did. And they're going to try to come up with some different pressures from the secondary. I guarantee you, because their line isn't as good, so you have to try to confuse Justin Herbert in that circumstance. But with this, Dan, the Ladd McConkey game is a one-off. I just don't believe you're going to see that ever again from Ladd. That was just the worst possible time to have the worst game of his early career. And I think he's going to come back with a vengeance today or tomorrow. I think he's going to prove what we've all seen from him in games past, how reliable he is, as will Keenan Allen. I think Quentin Johnston will obviously get more looks his direction, whether that's going to be on crossing routes or, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm enjoying the fact that I am being proven wrong with Quentin Johnston as a deep threat and as the X receiver in this case. But he has performed so well over the last 2 weeks in that role. And you got to tip your hat to it. So, Dan, when you start looking at this as far as, okay, well, where can the Chargers attack? It's similar to the plan that we thought that they were going to do against the Giants. The Giants are coming into that game with the 28th ranked pass defense. The Washington Commanders have the 27th ranked pass defense.
I can't take it.
So can you find better holes in this defense that you can attack with greater success? Be some interesting cornerback matchups that you have. Marshawn Lattimore most likely is going to be hovering over Quentin Johnston, while Mike Sanders, one of our favorite draft prospects to talk about coming out of Michigan. Dan, I think he might get the job of covering Keenan Allen, which is a big ask for a rookie like that. And then in other spots in the secondary, much like Justin Herbert had with that great throw to Quentin Johnston last week, where he threaded the needle in between the safety and the corner, I think you're going to have plenty more opportunities for that. So there's plenty of areas that you can exploit this Washington defense. I truly believe that. But if you have not corrected your protection up front, it is not going to matter at the end of the day. You have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders should be able to be beaten through the air. Now, will they be able to be beaten? I don't know. That's what we thought last week as well. This pass defense isn't great, but again, like you said, everything goes to shit if they can't protect Justin Herbert.
That's right.
I think from a pressure perspective, they're the bottom third, so they don't usually get to Chargers or get to quarterbacks that often. Even though they do blitz kind of in the top half percentage wise, their pass defense is not great. And I mean, again, this is about, can the Chargers do what they need to do on offense? Like, if the Chargers are who they are and the Commanders are who they are, and if both hold true, the Chargers should win this matchup anyways, from offense in the Chargers versus the defense and the Commanders. Now, if you start seeing names like Deron Payne start going crazy, you start seeing that interior defensive line start to make some looks, that's going to get hairy, right? But for me, this is kind of a show us game for this Chargers offense after what we saw against the Giants, right? Like, the Giants roughed them up. It wasn't even, it was ugly. It was ugly. And Justin Herbert looked a bit off at times. The worst time to have a bad game for almost everyone on the offensive line was bad. Aside from Quentin Johnston, wide receivers were bad. Tight ends didn't do much. Amari Hampton might have been the only star, along with Quentin Johnston, in that game. Otherwise, it was pretty bad. So this is kind of a put up or shut up game. And you think of the rumblings, right? You start hearing whispers of Justin Herbert for MVP, and all these things are different with Justin this year. And all of a sudden, like, one loss, and those whispers start to come back. This is one of those momentum shifting games where either it goes back to what it was, or it could become a slippery slope for Justin in this offense. And for Greg Roman, there are some calls that we were wondering, what the hell are we doing?
Yep.
And why aren't we adjusting? And why are we making Justin drop back so much? And why aren't we running? Like, a lot of those adjustment questions targeted towards Greg Roman and company will become hotter and hotter if this team ends up losing this game. And so this offense, I think, has been carried by the defense. And in my opinion, this offense should be the one carrying, because they got a tough task going up against the one Jade Daniels, who of course comes back the week to go against the Chargers. Now got no Scary Terry, no Austin Eckler, Noah Brown is also gone. So they're a little banged up, but this Chargers team should win this. All in all, I think they are the more balanced team if they stay balanced. But Jake, I think for me, like, the offense, I agree with you. This should be the Omari and Hampton show.
Should be.
At least to kind of get this thing going. My fantasy team also hopes for this. By the way, Jake, did you know I've got like 3 or 4 Chargers on my fantasy team?
Oh, why did you do that?
But wait. Every time the Chargers have won, my fantasy team has lost. Every time my Chargers team has lost, my fantasy team has won. Who would have figured?
So you're just basically hoping that your fantasy season goes to shit.
Yeah, I mean, I will sacrifice my fantasy league year for the betterment of this Chargers team. Jake, anything else on the offense for the Chargers versus the Commanders defense before we flip it over?
Be nice to get Will Dissly back if he is able to be active. He's obviously questionable for this game coming in. You could really use the help. on the blocking standpoint, whatever you want to put him. I think the Chargers have missed him tremendously over the last 2 weeks because you take him out. Obviously, Tucker Fisk was battling, I can't remember if it was a foot or a toe injury that he was coming off of. Again, as Dan mentioned, the tight ends weren't really doing much. And for Rondé Gadsden or Tyler Conklin, they don't offer much in the blocking game. So you need your best blocking tight end. So that would be nice to get him back and add a little bit more stability where the Chargers in certain short yardage situations could go a jumbo package and figure out ways to keep those drive alive and move them in short yardage situations. So that'd be the only other thing that I would see. So hopefully we see Will Dissly back on the field tomorrow against the Commanders.
Fear with another donation. Dan, I love you, my baby, but please keep your PTSD crap at your house. You're not losing tomorrow. This is a new era coach. We will beat their ass. Pretty sure that's what he said last week.
It was. He predicted a 40 burger against the Giants last week.
Yeah, and the only 40 burger we saw were tears of sadness.
only 40 burger we saw was the In-N-Out spread just leaking from the Chargers patty. That was it. That was bad.
So,
no, I get the whole PTSD idea because
dog crap.
See, even Dan Wolkenstein, remote with limited Wi-Fi capabilities, is still able to have some great audio from Chargers Unleashed hotline because that's something else. Jesus.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
This was all of us.
Just to let you know, you keep Dan to put his PTSD crap out the house, he's going to bring it right back in your face.
I swear to you, if this Chargers team loses this game, not going to go there. I hope he's right. Hey, TNT.
I hope he's right as well.
How's Omarion Hampton's arm? Can he throw a surprise touchdown? I would love to see that. Vintage
I would love
LT,
to see it.
Great.
I would love to see it, but there's only one LT that throws as many touchdowns as he threw, and I don't think that they're ready to to put Omarion Hampton in the pass game. At least him throwing the ball.
Yeah, Chris says if they let them hit Herbert more than 10 times, I'm gonna start believing that they just hate Justin Herbert.
I don't know. Offensive line play just has to be better.
Yep. We got screenplays and RPOs requested by Chris Guzman. Yeah.
Yes. Look at how much they've featured Omarion Hampton in the pass game over these last 2 weeks. Remember, we just go back to those first 2 weeks against the Chiefs and the Raiders. Yes, you didn't really need the running game that much because Justin Herbert was being Justin Herbert. But his offensive line was also giving him really good protections for those first 2 weeks. You don't have that right now, especially with Mekhi Becton going out in that Denver game and him missing last week. And now, of course, losing Joe Alt. So you have to tailor your offense better than that. What's one of the quickest ways that you stop an opposing pass rush? Quick 2-3 step jobs, get the ball out if you need to, or the screen game. And Omarion Hampton run it. And Omarion Hampton has proven that he can be utilized in the pass game well over the last 2 weeks. So feature him. It's going to be a heavy, heavy game from number 8.
Brad is asking, is Becton playing? We do not know. He's trending in the right direction, but we shall see.
Officially labeled as questionable. Officially labeled as questionable as of now, but all signs are pointing in the right direction.
As we flip over to the other side, Jake, DZ says, Jaden Daniels will be the key, in my opinion, in this game. Arguably the best quarterback outside of Mahomes this defense has played this young season. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. The dude is in, man. I like Jaden Daniels a lot. And thankfully for the Chargers, at least, right? Like, there's no Austin Eckler. There's no Scary Terry. Their offensive line isn't that great. They don't have that many weapons. How great is their offensive line?
I would say that on the left side, their offensive line is sustainable.
Okay.
You go to the right side. You go to the right side. You go to the right side. That's a different story.
Yes. So, Jake, for you, I think like the chalk, right, is this is the big Deion Henley game. Contain Jaden Daniels, keep him in the pocket. Don't let any of the explosive plays go over the top. Like that's table for every week.
Yep.
Right. In my opinion, before I was going to ask you a question, and I was just going to answer it myself. So here's me being rude. Jake, other than the obvious, other than the chalk scenarios and the storylines, what, in your opinion, is the biggest attribute that will lead to either success or failure for this Chargers team?
The man who's on the screen right now, Dan, because when you look at some of the things, and especially with Jaden Daniels coming back off of injury, and when you know what their coaching staff likes to do, and if they're going to attack a weakness that you have seen the Broncos attacked and the Giants attack last week, you keep it simple, stupid, because we've talked about there's no Scary Terry in this game. There's no Noah Brown in this game. Deebo Samuel, even though he's going to play, is still coming up off of his own injury, so he's not necessarily 100%. So what are you going to do? You're going to dumb this down to a run game. And the Chargers right now are 17th ranked in the league against the run, where the Commanders are ranked number 2. They run the ball pretty good. They're pretty good at running the fucking ball. So if you're going to take anything away from that Giants game, which you could say whatever you want in terms of Jackson Dart not having to do much to win that game, that might be true, but you know what? His coach had a great game plan. They ran it 40 plus times with Cam Scattaboo, or design runs by Jackson Dart that netted positive yardage. And that kept the Chargers defense out there on the field. It kept them on their heels, and ultimately it led to their demise. So if I'm Washington, I'm pulling every little bit of that I can to say, how do we exploit this? So the interior of the defensive line needs to be able to win the day, to take away the running game from Washington, so that guys like Thule, or if you're in third and long situations, you can control the narrative of the game and not make it easy for Jaden Daniels, especially when he's not going to have certain weapons out there. So interior of the defensive line, specifically against the run game, that's how this needs to go. Dan is rambling on mute. And that's number 2 for the day.
Jeez. I'm trying to mute out when I'm chewing. I'm doing you a favor, but then I'm muting out when I'm talking as well. Great. Yes, to your point, Jake, 5.9 yards per attempt on the ground of these Commanders. That's second best in the NFL, only behind the Ravens. Yards per game, this Commanders team, 154.8 yards per game on the ground. Again, second most in the NFL. That's what you got to do to stop them. If you make them one-dimensional, if you make them have to throw it to who their pass catchers are, that's your recipe for success. Now, I feel like this is Thule's MO, right? He gets close, bam. 1 week, 4 sacks.
He found the finish line last week for sure.
Yeah, Kristen Guzman says Thule will go crazy again. Jake, how important will the pass rush be for the Chargers against Jaden Daniels? And before you say, obviously, it's a lot. Is it one of the top 2 or 3 most important things for this game? I don't know.
Yes, it still is. It still is. Again, if you look at the difference in those games, but Dan, you know what? I'll go one better. The Chargers have to win the turnover battle, which they have not done in the last 2 weeks. They are way behind the sticks. And even still in the Denver game, you found a way, even having 2 turnovers in that one, to come out and win that game. And then after the performance that you had last week, coughing the ball up to the Giants, you didn't even turn the ball over against Kansas City. The only turnovers that you've had are against the Raiders. You need to figure out ways to make plays on the ball and get turnovers, whether that's by causing a fumble, forcing Jaden Daniels into an interception, something. But it does start with the pass rush in order for those things to happen. So, yeah, it's important, but I honestly think you got to step up defensively and make a play to give your offense more opportunities. If you can get back to the MO that you played with in the first 2 weeks, where you're playing out there with a lead, it changes the entire dynamic in terms of how this game is going to go coaching wise.
100%. 100%. So I think for me, they can't. One of the things that the Chargers defense thrives on is making the opposing team go up and down the field and doing those long 15, 20 play drives, right? Like that's what, and they bank on you missing something, make on a mistake. What the Chargers team on defense cannot do is give up those, I call them ED touchdowns, right? Like you cannot give up that over the top fluke play, the 60-yard run after 3 broken tackles, the flea flicker for 80 yards, like whatever it is. Like if they can play fundamentally sound on the back end, they should be fine. And that was one of the things that crippled this Chargers team under the Brandon Staley era, is it was the opposite of that. Can this Chargers defense stay on a string like they were the first 2 weeks? And can the front contain Jaden, clearly? But more importantly, I think to their success is, can they keep them one-dimensional? If they take away the run game, I trust the secondary. Even in that bad loss last week, the Chargers defense, for the most part, looked pretty darn good. And Chris actually brought up an excellent point that we didn't bring up yet.
14 penalties.
There should be 14 S's at the end of that penalties.
Yes. Very uncharacteristic for a Jim Harbaugh-led team.
Crazy. And it just kept coming and coming and coming. So if they could play smart, which usually is a Jim Harbaugh team, again, we're talking about a lot of ifs here, right? Like I think the path to victory for the Chargers team, similar to last week, there's a lot more paths to victory than paths to failure. But there are still paths to failure, right? Like if they give up crazy amounts on the run, that's a path to failure, including Jade Daniels getting outside containment. Now, is he 100%? I'm not sure. If they can't protect Justin Herbert, path to failure, immediate. So, Jacob, before we get to the game and bold predictions, what do you make of the coaching in this one?
You talking about the comments or just the coaching matchup?
Either one.
I mean, it's hard to get any worse from a coaching standpoint for the Chargers than what you were last week. It's really hard to do that. And that's around the board because the Chargers failed in so many aspects of the 3 phases of last week. Offensively, defensively, special teams. Like, I wasn't kidding when I felt like I was watching a Chargers team that was coached by Brandon Staley. It felt that bad. It really did. Undisciplined. You get the Giants offense in 3rd and 12 situations, and of course they convert it. That was like the MO of the defense 3 years ago. Special teams failures. It was bad, and it was just all at the most inopportune times for it to happen. It was just a complete cluster, and the worst timing of so many different aspects of that game going south happened all at the same time. I have to believe that you're not going to allow that to happen again. That's about as bad of a taste in your mouth and about as bad collectively as a loss as a team that we have seen from the Jim Harbaugh-led coached era. You can't get any worse than that.
No, you can't. Jake, we got a few voicemails here on the Chargers Unleashed hotline. I think we got 3 that we're going to go through. A couple of them I couldn't use because they are literally 3 minutes long, and we don't got time for that today. Apologies. Can we get 30 seconds or less, please? 323-902-7586 is the number to the hotline. Before we get to the X Factors and predictions, Jake, let's hear what the hotline has to say. Voicemail number 1.
Hey, hello. This is Guido from Chicago.
Well, he either just woke up or he just watched the Chargers-Giants game.
I just want to say this.
One of the two happened.
Ortiz, I really, really, really need an O-line, okay? We got to have an O-line. We got to protect the boys, okay?
Yep.
And Omarian, go get over 100 yards today. Let's go, Chargers.
Hell yeah.
I agree with all that.
Simple.
No comments.
No comments at all.
No, I'm
Zero?
with you 100%. Yes, please.
The only thing I will say, again, because I've seen so many people put this out in the Twitter sphere in the last week in terms of go out, make a move, go get an offensive. Look. First of all, A, they did that. But 2, everybody's going like, well, who the hell is that? Like, you're not going to find a team that is going to part ways with a legitimate offensive lineman at this point in the season, because we know how long the Chargers were looking for a good left tackle before they got Rashawn Slater. We know how good they were looking for a bookend to him at the right tackle spot before Joe Alt arrived. Teams are not going to part ways with that commodity when really the left tackle is the second biggest player in terms of importance goes on your roster. Keeps your franchise player at the quarterback spot clean. So I get it. I know that everybody wants to see them go out and make a move, but at this point in time, you're not going to find teams that are going to agree to trade a good offensive tackle. It's just not going to happen. So where does this come in? This is where coaching comes in. Coach him up. You got to deal with what you can, deal with what you have, scheme properly, more importantly. You can win games when you have Justin Herbert, despite what offensive line combinations in front of him right now. But you're not going to find these big name left tackles being traded to the Chargers. These teams will not do it.
Dan, Jake, are you both surprised that the Chargers didn't put Joe Alt on IR? Honestly, I was surprised.
I think they still have time. There's a deadline, I think, today for them to do it. So even though we haven't heard them do it yet, I think they still have a window to officially place him on IR.
Oof. Please. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Jake, next voicemail. Let's hear what they have to say.
Jake, Dan, love you guys.
Appreciate you. Love you too. Even when we're absolutely a cluster this morning on this show, that's okay.
First of all, Jackson fucking Dart, are you serious?
Jackson fucking Dart? Yeah. Yeah, we're serious.
The media
that just happened.
Gobbling this kid. 111 passing yards. Brutal. Awful performance from the boys. We need to step it up. 3-1, still good. But 4 would be better. 4-0 is what it should have been. Omarion, hell of a game. That kid can run. Thule finally getting to the quarterback, showing the boys what he's got. Love the content. We got to step it up for Joe. Rashawn. Hopefully Makai's back next game. Lad, you got to step it up a little bit, buddy. Anyways, QJ, never give up, man. Always having faith in you.
I'm sure everyone's always had faith in Quentin. Come on.
Let's go Bolts. Bolt up, baby.
Yeah, the perfect storm type of game. Coaching. Jackson Dart, yes, 111 yards. Found a way to beat you. It's pretty bad. And then you know what the best part about it is, Dan? And again, I'm not taking anything away from Jackson Dart because I think that him and Scattaboo are going to be like a perfect tandem in terms of the energy that they need to give to New York. But so many people were saying, oh my God, don't start Jackson Dart against one of the best defenses in the league. Wait until the week after against the New Orleans Saints to start him. I personally think they're going to go in and dominate the Saints, to be perfectly honest. And he's going to be able to show more of what he is all about. And Dable's going to allow him to, even without Malik Neighbors. I think you're going to see a much more open playbook for him. But you came in with the most vanilla playbook against the Chargers defense and Justin Herbert at quarterback, and they beat you. If that's not a big slice of humble pie for this team, I don't know what is.
John Lee says Alda had the same injury last season and came back after 2 weeks.
Yeah, we heard that he was getting second opinions on the injury, and I think we even heard, I think it was on the Pat McAfee show that he mentioned that Alt wanted to come back into the game, and the coaching staff wouldn't let him. Honestly, I wouldn't have either.
It's too much of a risk, honestly.
The game plan wasn't changing. And honestly, the game plan offensively wasn't even looking good for you when Joe Alt was in there. The Giants front four is nasty.
Yeah, Jose M with the $2 donation. Thank you. What do you think of Roman's comments on Bozeman? Paraphrasing, basically, he is a leader. He's a veteran. He's a presence. He's a signal caller. All sunshine and rainbows for Bozeman
Sure.
from Greg Roman.
Sure. Look, I was of the opinion going all the way back to training camp that when Andre James was acquired, that the Chargers were not going to run back the same offensive line combination, with the exception of Mekhi Becton, that they had last year. And I was wrong, because they considered Zion Johnson at center for a period of time that lasted about 2 weeks beforehand, before going back to Bradley Bozeman full time. Now, look, I am not going to say anything that's going to bash Bradley Bozeman or say that he doesn't deserve the job. Obviously, the play needs to be better. But I'll also say, in terms of Ortiz's comments, your offensive line is changing so much right now with Joe Alt that they haven't even announced who the left tackle is going to be.
It's tough.
If you're going to add another wrinkle into that now by then changing your center and thinking that that's going to all of a sudden make things better in a short period of time, I'm not sure that that's the best strategy. So I get it. I understand and I hear what everybody is saying in terms of Bradley. Look, collectively, the offensive line last week sucked. 2 weeks ago, collectively, with Joe Alt, the offensive line sucked. But you also have to remember, you're not going up against second-string players upon the opposite side. First 2 weeks of the season, this offensive line looked great. Looked great against the Kansas City Chiefs. Looked great against protecting against Max Crosby. But those two teams do not have what the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants have up front. Denver leads the league right now in sacks with 15 through the first 4 weeks. New York Giants had themselves a field day last week. I don't think that you're going to find the same type of success that Washington, or I don't think that Washington's going to find the same success that those other two teams found.
Sure as hell hope not.
But you have to scheme properly for it. It's not like you could just walk out there and do your job, but also give respect to the other guys that they're going up against. That is two bad fronts that the Chargers have had to go up against in 2 consecutive weeks. Nasty.
Brutal. Jeremy said it can't be worse because Bozeman is literally ranked last in the league out of offensive linemen in the league.
I totally agree with that, and I totally understand it. And who knows? Maybe Andre James will get his opportunity at some point this year. But again, with so many things changing on the offensive line, it's still not 100% that Becton's coming back, even though everybody believes that he will. Jim Harbaugh won't even announce who the hell is going to be playing at left tackle this week because they've thought through so many options. You don't want to change so many different things for your offensive line in 1 week. Not to say that Andre James can't go into the starting position at some point. I'm saying in a week where you lose your left tackle, you want to throw another wrinkle in terms of things that you have to start scheming for? Just let's take it one step at a time. Hopefully, in general, the offensive line gets better against Washington. And again, in terms of game plan and scheming, I think it will.
Last voicemail, Jake, on the hotline. Again, you can call into the hotline at any time. The number is 323-902-7586. Before we get to our predictions and X Factors, let's hear our last caller.
Dan, Jake.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Oh, hang on. Should I take this away just for a second?
What's the sentiment?
Well, it's probably a theer, so I'm trying to protect my eardrums.
Dan,
There it is. Okay, there we
you
go.
know who was this?
Yes, and thank you for not being so loud. Okay, Sunday game.
I know what happened last week.
Do you? Because they got truck rolled after you thought they were getting a 40 burger and saying they were going undefeated. Get out of here.
This is not going to happen again.
Oh, it's not. This ain't going to happen again, is it? Jake, you hear that? They're not losing again.
This is Coach Harbaugh team.
This is Harbaugh's team, baby. They don't commit 14 penalties.
It will not happen again the rest of the year.
Bookmark this, folks.
Mm-hmm. Okay? I'm still believing in my team. And this is why I love my coach and my QB. And I'm going to give you this bold prediction. Take it any way you want.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck who is playing on the offensive line on Sunday. They will all show up and keep Herbert clean, and the Chargers will bounce back. with a straight up beatdown. I'm going 27-7. Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Keep up the good work.
27-7.
Look, we have made Athir has, when we've talked about this on the show, Athir is the ultimate when it comes to being the one that will carry the Chargers banner, that thinks that they are just going to go in and blitz every single opponent and their defense is going to hold them out. And honestly, most of the time, I hope when he says some of these predictions that he's right.
Yeah, the hopium is real, for sure.
But look, there's nothing against being critical of your team when the criticism is valid. There's nothing against that. We're not trying to roll any PTSD up in here. Nobody wants to hear that. Most of all, I don't. I don't need to go back and relive the mindset that I was in 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago. Nobody wants to do that. But we're also not going to blow sunshine up everyone's ass and try to tell them that everything is all right when there's clearly a trend now that's happening that is an issue. So remember when Patrick Mahomes was on the golf course and someone said, "Hey, watch out for Justin Herbert this year," and he said, I'll see it when I believe it," type thing. I'll see it when I believe it. I hope that you're right, Athir. I hope that you're right, and I hope the offensive line as a whole is better. And honestly, after an ass kicking like that, I would hope that they would think the exact same thing, and I would hope that Greg Roman would scheme the right way going into this game on Sunday.
I have been hurt far too many times when I'm carrying the hopium bag, the optimism, when I'm just carrying the fingers crossed, hoping that all the stuff that I've seen with my eyes is not going to happen again.
Right.
I am going with what I have seen so far with my eyes and letting that tell me the truth. And so far, these past few games have not looked pretty for this offensive line. And if you're telling me that the offensive line looks to be the same roster, except Joe Alt's not starting this week, we don't know about Mekhi Becton, and they're going to go out there and dominate that defensive line, it sounds great. I hope. But that's exactly what it is. That is hope. Sounds not expectations. Jake, X factors and bold predictions before we get the final score. X factor for you. I think you're taking my guy from last week.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, Dan, I was this close to having the exact same X factors as we did last week. Last week was also Amari and Hampton on offense. I think this week it's even more foregone that he should be a bigger focal point of the offense this week. It should be 20 plus carries for him coming into this game, honestly, all things considered. That's my opinion. I do think that after what we've seen from him the last couple of weeks, he's definitely going over 100 all-purpose yards. There's no doubt about that, considering how they should be getting him involved in the screen game and what he has been able to produce, especially on the edge, Dan. It's not just him hitting the hole straight and ripping off some of these big. He's finding the speed on the edge. Like these last 2 weeks, since Najee Harris has gone down, he has gotten himself into a groove. So I'm with anybody who wants to make a bold prediction that Omari and Hampton is going to have 100 yards rushing in this game and a touchdown. Absolutely. I don't think that there's any hyperbole to that whatsoever. I definitely think that that's real, and it should be the case considering how you want to protect your quarterback. Yeah.
This feels like a game that, for offense anyways, like I don't want to have to say this, but this feels like a game that's going to come down to Justin having to be Superman, unfortunately. And that's because of the offensive line injuries, because of the tight end injuries, it's because all of that stuff, right? Like this is one of those games where the New York Giants should not have won that game 18 different ways. Justin Herbert and company have to find a way. And this is one of those like expectations show me games where I know the offensive line is hurt. I know that you got a rookie behind you. Najee Harris isn't there. You're up against a good defensive front. Like I get it. But simply put, when Justin Herbert is making this much money, he's getting paid this much money to overcome that stuff, right? There's a lot of excuses being thrown around. Go look at what happens with Mahomes every year. Talk about lack of weapons, lack of offensive line help. So tell me outside, interior is great, but outside, right? Yes, they have a great defense. Mahomes pulls rabbits out of the hat all the time. Josh Allen, all the time. That's what they need from him. So at this point, my X factor for this one's going to be Justin. I think it's going to have to be. Overcome all of the adversity. It doesn't matter. Like, that's why they pay you. If you can't overcome that, you're not worth the $50 million. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Like, that's just a fact.
I get it.
That's why those quarterbacks are getting that much money. Bold prediction. Bold prediction, Jake. I'll go first.
Let's hear it.
I'm sticking true. I think Justin delivers. I'm going to go 3 touchdowns, 320, no picks.
3 touchdowns, 320, no picks. Okay. All right.
You got folks here saying real Doomer Hour. No, it's not. This
It's
is just
not
me
Doomer
realizing.
Hour.
So
It's not Doomer Hour. Like, the only criticism that we have come up with on this show, I'd probably say, is the offensive line, which is real concerns. I don't think that anybody would disagree with that whatsoever. And the scheming and play calling of Greg Roman, which, by the way, was great to start the season. And then in the last 2 weeks has felt very Jekyll and Hyde, mostly Hyde last week against the Giants. He was able to make some adjustments in that second half against Denver, made 0 adjustments in the game against the Giants. So this is not doom or gloom. The Chargers are still 3-1. And this is where I went with this comment last week, Dan. You know, when you're undefeated, winning can cure all ills and mask a lot of shit. But the moment that you lose one game, it makes everybody else forget that you won.
100%.
We're not trying to be doom and gloom here. We're simply just trying to call it as it is. Chargers are still 3-1 on top of the AFC West. It's great. But you got to do a better job of protecting your quarterback than you've seen over the last 2 weeks when you've literally allowed your quarterback to get hit 46 times. And if you can't protect him, for lack of a better word, you're fucked.
Yes. Pappy, I trust in Harbaugh. He's a winner. Brad thinks Jake. I think every week.
Every single time I see Spicoli,
Brad,
he thinks that I am baked.
I think clearly Brad is doing a little bit of like projecting. Folks.
Oh, good.
Oh man. All right, Jake. Money where mouth is. They win?
Yes, I think they come back in the winning column after this one, Dan. Again, that was a big slice of humble pie last week.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way in hell that the coaching staff does not see how bad they were playing last week. And again, like, you go back to games like last year where the trap game was the Arizona game. Chargers were able to rebound off of that. If there's any time for, look, it happens to every NFL team. We saw this a couple weeks ago with Green Bay. No reason in hell that they should have lost that game to Cleveland. It happens to every single NFL team that you drop one like this. It's how do you respond off of a bad loss and a bad day and things that you weren't prepared to see, and most of all, things that you didn't execute well against. So yes, I think that this team is going to rebound. You decided to take Justin Herbert, 320, 3 touchdowns for your bold prediction. I'll be nice and I'll flip it over to the defensive side of the ball because I have Tyler Tart as my X factor on defense for this one, with a honorable mention to obviously Thule, considering that in terms of pass rush on the edge, he's virtually everything that you got right now until Khalil Mack comes back. But I'm going to go Tyler Tart because, again, I say that for the collection of the interior defenders, that you take away the run in this game with the lack of weapons that Jaden Daniels has to throw to, and as long as you keep him contained, your defense should be able to control the pace of this game. 100%. Stop making the mental mistakes that you made against the Giants. You can't allow these designed quarterback runs that Jackson Dart was able to rip off last week against you. You can't have these extended drives where you have the opposing offense in 3rd and long situations and then go soft zone coverage and allow the easy first down to happen. You can't allow that. So if there was ever a game to come into where you're pissed off and you want to get that taste out of your mouth,
this is it.
I think that this is it. You're back home for this game. I think there's a lot that they're going to correct.
Radford says, the loss was a good reality check. It was a good humbling experience. Nobody likes to lose, so they're going to bounce back. I hope that they are correct. Jake, I'll go 24-23 Chargers.
Oh, so it's going to be close.
Yeah. 20. I can't predict the blowout with an offense line like this. I just can't. I'm sorry.
Yep.
So until they show me otherwise, I get it. 24-23 Chargers, and we'll feel good, but I think we'll feel better when we find out more with Joe Alt. Forgot Locom real quick. Is Tarheeb still going to be turning punts? Lord, I hope not. Like, the dude is a beast on defense. Keep him there.
Yeah. It's not, and not to say that his ability that he can't return, but I just don't want him. I don't want him out there for an extra snap to possibly injure himself when he's so valuable on defense.
It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Folks, this has been fun. Appreciate you bearing with us with all of the technical difficulties, me on mute, chewing through, drinking coffee, messing up these slides. I apologize, but Jake, this was fun. Thank you for helping me out through this one.
No problem, sir. Safe travels home, and hopefully for everyone, thank you for turning in on this Saturday. And when Dan returns home, we'll hopefully be talking about a Chargers victory and them improving to 4-1. So we will see you next time on the next Chargers Unleashed.